Hello and welcome. We're going to get into another video. Today we're going to talk about the top teams in the Open Great League. We will feature out the new Pokemon that have been recently added the Pokemon Go, such as Legacy, Thievul, and Camo, the Mantine typing bird. And we will talk about it like more specifically because I've been using it for quite a while. I feel like I could just give my take on the Pokemon. So what is Open Great League? It's all of these Pokemons and all of these Pokemons here and more even to use. I think it's basically the most diverse league in the entire game. There are so many good Pokemons you could use, but I feel like people have been recently just spamming Kanto, Shadow Kanto, Ninetales, or Thievul, or like Tinkaton, things like that. And that is why you are here. You need something that you can spam in the Open Great League, especially that we only have 2 weeks left in the league. So according to PvPoke, Lickilicky is still number 1. Why is it number 1? I don't think it's as good in the Open League as in competitive. In competitive, it's everywhere. People are using it to catch these Pokemon, like to catch moves on and then like bait out the Thievul counter, bait out I don't know, anything that fighters usually beat. It's also good against the fire type because it has rollout. It's great into Feraligatr, and Feraligatr is decent. So it's like good into Dugong, good into Lapras, good into the Flyets. It's just a very versatile Pokemon and it's actually decent. Tinkaton is arguably the best Pokemon, but Tinkaton kind of like get destroyed by so many Pokemons in the current meta, such as Ninetales, which is the most used Pokemon right now, I believe. And then there is Altaria. It's so good, but it's also not that used because people are just using Licky and Tink, and both of these Pokemons beat Altaria, and even Empoleon does beat Altaria. But Empoleon is like kind of a frail Pokemon. Mimikyu is a beast. Now, as I said, it's so good of a Pokemon, but it's easy to play against. Just to play Pokemons that spam charge moves and throw useless charge moves on it, because they will be forced to shield, because the moment they don't shield, that Pokemon becomes so useless. So keep that in mind. Quagsire is probably one of my favorite Pokemons this season. Fortress, I'm not a Fortress believer this season, to be honest. Cramorant, I actually enjoy this Pokemon, except that the fact that Dive is such a horrible charge move. And I'm like, I can't justify using it, you know? And then there is Ninetales, which is the Shadow version, which is aka the better version. About Gastrodon, I stopped using Gastro, but I've been running into lots of Gastro. I mean, it's a waterfall clone, so I don't think it's a bad fast move nowadays. I thought it's nerfed. I think it's just basically got a rework. I think that's how it works now. If you combine it with Talonflame, you get the team that I've been spamming for literally ages. I used to use Talonflame, Gastro with Diggersby or Ferret. This trio forever, and it's always been that good. So what is the meta teams? That's why you are here, right? I think the most meta team right now is Feraligatr with Tinkaton, and as a third you could put a Ghost, you could put a Lickilicky, but basically it's a Lickilicky with a Tinkaton. That's like the basic meta team. And then the third could be Thievul, the third could be Diggersby, Feraligatr, the third could be Cramorant. Like any of these Pokemons could work as a third. But as a Cramorant, if you want to use Cramorant, it's actually decent. Mantine is just the bulkier version, and Mantine also has Twister, which make it good into things like Kingdra, and Kingdra is a very decent Pokemon to use if you manage to have it on things like that aren't a fairy type. I looked into Cramorant. I used the multiple teams, and these will be 2 of the ones that I actually tried. Cramorant with Eufisk is kind of like the basic core that you want to use, because Cramorant is weak to electric, right? And the best anti-electric Pokemon, you need a ground type, right? And the best ground type that counters electric is Eufisk, because you're basically immune to electric. That's number 1. Number 2, the best cover for Eufisk is actually Flyers, because Eufisk is weak to things like ice, is weak to water, is weak to grass. All of these Pokemons get countered by Cramorant. And then as a third, it could be something like Tinkaton or a Lickilicky, or it could be also something like Diggersby itself, or it could be something like, I think Diggersby, ground type, or you could just do a Tinkaton. But also, you could just use a Thievul with a Diggersby. What does Thievul Diggersby do? I mean, they are like Thievul now with Icy Wind is just good into everything that is not a fairy type. So we just need 2 fairy counters. The main fairy Pokemon is Tinkaton and Wigglytuff. I mean, Wigglytuff Cramorant is fine into, but if it's a Tinkaton, it's going to be a struggle actually, because this team is kind of ABA. I often say it's ABA weak to Tinkaton because you wall the energy from Tinkaton, and Tinkaton walls the energy from you, and unless you just run some, like Surf on Cramorant. That's why we have Surf here. I think you run Dive on the other one because it's just a spammer, but Dive is just a horrible charge move. I can't justify using it. I guess if you're just into spammy stuff, you just run Dive. If you want actually good charge move, just run Surf and forget about it, you know? Now, more Thievul teams. Let's talk about Thievul Tinkaton. I feel like Thievul Tinkaton is just going to be everywhere. I'm expecting to see this Pokemon at Worlds, and that's why I'm going to expect that people will run Annihilate as a way to deal with this this duo. I mean, you could say that Tinkaton destroys Annihilate, but I mean, Annihilate can just 2-shield into so many things, right? And it's so spammy. As far as Corsola is just the tanky Pokemon. I was just like trying to put this Pokemon with 2 tanky stuff. That isn't one of them. That isn't Licky, because Licky is gonna be in the next one. So Thievul Licky is just 2 things that are weak to fighters. So you need an anti-fighter. So the anti-fighter could be something like Talonflame, could be something like Charjabug. Most importantly, it must be something that destroys Tinkaton. Okay. Destroys Tinkaton is a must on the if you want to run those 2 together. I recently ran into someone running Malamar, and I was like, why did people stop using Malamar? It's still decent. I don't know why. It can deal with things like Tinkaton pretty good. Like you just throw superpower and then you dip out. It's not actually bad to play against Tinkaton. Now I know you put yourself into like weird situations, such as you will be forced to switch out, but that is Malamar in a nutshell. You will always, if you're going to use Malamar, you will always have to do that. It's just the new way of playing the Dragonite. And speaking of Dragonite, I tried this team. I think it's good. I think it's decent. I don't think there is any issue with this team other than just getting RPS. So the main thing about Shadow Dragonite, usually if you win the lead, you must win the game. If you lose the lead, there is a chance that you can still win the game. But the main thing about it is that it's just a very fast, like 2 minutes per game, which make it worth it. Like, do you want to finish 5 sets in 40 minutes, or do you want to finish 5 sets in like 2 hours? That's like that why people sometimes choose to play Dragonite. If you don't want to use Dragonite, you could just always opt into Altaria Swampert over Dragonite Diggersby. You have to use Diggersby with the Swampert because you lack the bulk here, but here you don't care about the bulk. You could even do Shadow Altaria if you're one of the lucky people who has one. I don't have one, so I can't do that. Tinkaton Diggersby with Feraligatr is still a decent trio. I'm usually like, I always like a 1 flyer on my team, so whenever there is no flyer on the team, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to run that. I don't know, that's about me. Do you run flyers? If you don't run flyers, let me know why you don't. Don't say things like, oh, flyers are bad in the meta. Okay, don't be a nerd. Okay, pick up something, say something very creative. Okay, and speaking of flyers, this is the flyer that I decided to not run. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big fan of the art of this Pokemon. It just disappointed me with the fast move. I was like expecting something that isn't Sand Attack. If you want to run Corviknight, you have to run 2 ground type Pokemons. You can always replace any ABB team with just put in a Licky over one of the Bs, and then you will have an ABC team. That's like how to do ABC teams. You just build an ABB team, take one out, and put a normal type Pokemon. I know we did Tink, Corsola, and Feraligatr. You could also use Quag as a way to counter the Diggersbys. You could also do Empoleon with the Triple Water. Like you just pretend this is ABB, and you use this as the anti-grass. So if you see a fire, you pretend this is not a water, and you just dip out. Speaking of the fire, Kanto Ninetales is just gonna be the beast that everyone will be using because it's just so freaking good of a Pokemon. I talked about these teams last season, last 2 weeks, I think, when I mentioned them. So we're just gonna do like a quick review. So Licky, Tink, Mimikyu is still the highest rated team in the entire league. But the problem is it just doesn't hit as hard, and it gets destroyed by things like Diggersby, by things like a ground type. Usually like give it like a kind of a pain to run into. And if you don't forget that Wiggly is still in this league, so don't be weak to Wiggly. You don't want to regret that. So if you want to run Wiggly with Jelly is 2 good core, and the third is literally up to you. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed these teams. If you like these teams, let me know which one did you like the most. And don't forget to like the video if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And there will be a hype button. Make sure to click on that to hype up the video so it reach out to more audience. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.